course, every time I try to record in public, there's always like so many people out. I decided to take you guys to the bookstore, although I don't know like how much the employees are going to allow people to be at the bookstore, like recording, so we shall see. Okay, appreciation post for the bookstore. In my car real fast. I was at the bookstore and I'm actually friends with one of the people that works there, but they're leaving after tomorrow. I want to record myself in the bookstore, but I also just feel like really awkward doing that. Hopefully I get over that. Tomato, pesto. It's really hot though. Sandwich.
I'm gonna offer you a call, but I have so many pucks right now.
Really? My little Halloween decoration. Adorable. Good morning. This video was not supposed to end up being a reading vlog, but you're gonna read Babel with me today, and I'm already like 30% through it, meaning I'm on like page 200 and there's 374 pages left. I love it. It's giving like Divine Rivals, Harry Potter cozy vibes, but I know for a fact this is supposed to be a very sad book and it's supposed to rip my heart out. It's about colonization and academia, and it's like dark academia, so you get to come along for the ride with me. All you need to know at the moment is that I love Robin, and I don't want to give spoilers, so I'll do like a spoiler-free reading vlog where you just get to see my reactions, my vague reactions. Look at my bookshelf. Wait, let me show you. This is what my husband got me for my birthday. Not all the books. I bought all the books. Well, I bought some of them, but this is the bookshelf that I got last year for my birthday. Akatar, Fated Prisoner series, Ravenhood series. This is the most important shelf you'll ever see of all time. My Once Upon a Broken Heart shelf. Look how pretty the end pages are. And then these special edition book dust jackets. Ignore my annotated fourth wing. I know it's like I messed up. And then Divine Rivals, the Yoda ears, get the vibes. And then these are all my TBR books. My spooky Kindle decor, love it. Okay, time to get my heart destroyed. Look at this part of the book. Why is Griffin so mean? Hello. So what started off as what I wanted to be a book vlog where I just hung out and took you guys to the bookstore and did a mukbang and all this stuff, which I'm sure I already included clips, or I'm going to include clips, was not as successful as I wanted it to be. I think it's just because I'm naturally a very introverted person. My life is not that eventful for a vlogger. You guys can clearly let me know though, like if this chill vlog vibe is something you would sign up for, but I completely understand if it's not that eventful. So anyways, long story short, I'm going to talk about the books that I read in August. So I actually only read, I guess, like 9 books this month. There have been months where I've been reading like 20, but I think after I hit like my 100 books goal, I kind of chilled out. I don't even know if I've like reviewed like the books I read in July in this video. So I don't know, maybe I'll just do this video as most notable books I've read this summer of 2023, since now we're in September. So let me go through June. This summer I read the Cruel Prince trilogy, as well as the first book of the spin-off duology. 5 stars. would recommend. Best enemies to lovers. The whole vibe of Holly Black book, I think she's like the top tier enemies to lovers. And yes, it's a YA, but I don't think anyone could do like intensity like that. I'm sorry, Carden is like up there with Jax for me. And you know how I feel about Once Upon a Broken Heart. Also, I did read the Bonds That Tie series, and overall, I think it's a 5-star read. It is spicy. It is not young adult, but it had a good like fantasy plot. Granted, I could have done with less spice even, but that was another 5-star read. And then I did read The War of Lost Hearts, and I gave it 5 stars because I appreciated it for the world building and the plot, but I was invested in some characters, but I wasn't as invested as I knew I should be. And that's why it's notable, but it's notable in the sense that I'm like, yeah, that was a well-written book, but it's not like I'm gonna die for this book kind of vibe. But Six Scorched Roses is like the best Carissa Broadbent book, which is kind of funny because it's like a 200-page novel, and she's known for these like chunky, you know, trilogy, duology series books. But her little mini novella, Six Scorched Roses, is by far the best novella I've read ever. Literally, like, if it was a book itself, I think it feels like you're reading a book itself. It's just so tiny and so quick to go through. And it's like Vampire, Beauty and the Beast smut. I think I've already reviewed this here, so I like don't want to talk too much about it, but yeah. Played a Prisoner series, I read this in June. 5 stars. 5 stars. Ate this up. This is one of the best romantasy series of all time. I don't care what anyone says. This is the best, one of the best of all times. There's spice, there's high stakes, there's high fantasy, there's romance, there's self-love, there's kind of an ACOTAR moment where if you've read ACOTAR or ACOMAF, stop! I reread Once Upon a Broken Heart and Ballad of Never After in June as well. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Best series of all time. #1 favorite series of all time in my heart. Chime in today. Then I read Divine Rivals, and that is like 5 stars for sure. It feels like a Studio Ghibli film, has a traumatic ending, and it will be continued. I think like next year or later this year or next year, I forget. But such a cozy vibe. It really was like the coziest, magical, mythical vibe. Kind of gave me like romantasy, Harry Potter vibes. I don't know. There's no other way to say like cozy magic vibe. I don't know. Beasts of Briar series. I read 2 out of, I think there's gonna be 7 books. I rated that 5 stars. Eat it up. It's spicy, but it's like the spice and the plot work very well for one another. Like, it's not overdone. It's not to the point that you're just like, okay, I get it. It's like, it's all very purposeful and there's a very good plot. So right now I like this series. I hope it stays strong because, you know, sometimes some series you'll really like the first few books and then you hate the last one. So I'm hoping that that's not the case for me. But yeah, my next 5 star was Ice Planet Barbarians. Love this series. They're so quick and fun. They're like only 100 to 200 pages, and I think there's like 20 books in the series, but there's only like 6 or 7 of the new reprinted editions with the new covers. I know because I bought them. But yeah, super fun romance spice about aliens. So definitely romantasy. I did read the WITSEC series, 5 stars. They're like really short reads and there's like 4 altogether. I have the 4th one on my to be read or want to read next. That one was good. It's kind of like a girl goes into a witness protection program. She ends up at a new house with her neighbors are like a group of brothers and they all become obsessed with her, and then the killer that she's in the witness protection program originally with like finds her, and then there's a cliffhanger. And then I have the new book just downloaded. I guess it like randomly came out this last month and I had no idea, so I'm gonna read it. But I kind of I don't know, you know, like you're reading books so it's super fresh in your memory, and then you start the next book, then like you had time before you got to start the next book, so it's not as fresh in your memory, and like some of the hype around how you felt in the moment died a little bit. That's kind of my mood with this series, but it was really good. I do recommend it. If anyone likes the Mindfuck series, they're gonna definitely like this series. And it's not as gory. Actually, that's not true. That's not true. Then my next 5 star read was Garden of the Cursed. It's another young adult where this girl is like a witch, and then she's hired by people to break curses. and then this guy who she had like kind of a situationship fallout that she had a crush on, but he like broke her heart, comes to her because he's cursed, and then like their whole world kind of unravels at like her trying to help him with the curse, but then there's this tension, and I loved this. It was in my Owl Crate box, and it's like my first 5-star read from one of my book box subscriptions. So I'm super excited because I just finally got onto Fairy Loot. I got the Illumicrate and I got the Owl Crate. I'm feeling like the best, the coolest girly ever. So Gods and Monsters by Amber V. Nicole, the Book of Azrael, and then the Throne of Broken Gods. This series feels like Vampire Diaries meets Throne of Glass. In my opinion, this is the series that reminds me the most of like Sarah J. Maas's writing. Not that I'm trying to compare, but I'm just saying like the world building, how well fleshed out the characters are, the tension, the spice, the romantasy, the high stakes, like it's all here. And I don't think it's hyped enough on TikTok. I do see it sometimes on BookTok, but it could be way more hyped. Like I think the author is an indie author, so needs to be talked about more. It was great. It was 5 stars for sure, and it's a continuing series, so I cannot wait. The last book, which is honestly, this book is tied up there with my Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. Literally become my favorite book of all time, tied to Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. But there's a huge plot twist because there's no romance, and like you guys know, I'm a romantasy girly, so like to not have romance on a book and still be my 5-star tied to #1 favorite series of all time is intense for me. Like I don't ever say that about any other book. And it is Babel, Necessity of Violence, an Arcane History of the Oxford Translator's Revolution, excuse me, by R.F. Kuang. Destroyed me. It's literally as warm and cozy as Divine Rivals meets Harry Potter, except it's about colonialism in academia. Systematic oppression and disadvantage of white supremacy and racism, and it follows the main character who's half white, half Chinese, and I really don't want to talk about it even because it's like you just need to read it, and also I'm so scared that I'm gonna spoil something. But long story short, you follow this boy who grows up being groomed in a sense, or conditioned, maybe groomed is the wrong word, but conditioned to eat, breathe, sleep the goal of being a translator at this elite academy in Oxford called Babel. And I think slowly throughout the book, like despite how many racist incidences happen to this person, he's like trained to be purposeful about wanting to go to this school and be just like anyone else. And I think over time you learn, like throughout the book, which I think every POC person can relate to, is no matter how much you assimilate to white Eurocentric countries, you will never truly be treated or seen as an equal to white people due to systematic racism. And it's a huge, like, it broke my mind, like how much it hits so strong for me. Obviously I'm very white presenting. I don't claim to have half of the struggles as other POC or black people specifically, but it just gutted me, because I think especially for POC people or black people, like anyone who is not white European who reads this book can definitely relate to so much of just growing up in a world that you want to be so desperately a part of, but also loathing it just as much as you wanting to be accepted by it. It's such an intense, I don't know, think piece, discord. Like I could talk about this book forever. It is so beautiful. I have so much pain though. I'm in pain. Do not go into this thinking it's a light, fluffy read. Oh my god, why am I so emotional? It's really that good, you guys. Maybe like I'll do an updated video where I just talk about Babel, or I read you guys my favorite quotes of Babel when I unbox my book that's coming from my bookshelf. I was impulsive and splurged, and I got a Fairy Loot Babel coming from Mercari because I have no self-control. Thankfully it wasn't as bad as some of those outrageous scalping prices. Some of those people are trying to resell that book for like $300. Thankfully I got it for like $100, which is still not the best, but it's not the worst that I've seen. Pray for me. Maybe I'll do like a vlog on the day that I'm trying to pre-order the 3rd Fairy Loot for A Curse for True Love. Although you guys will see me like blubbering like an idiot and being super emotional and crying. But so yeah, thank you for watching all of this. I hope you have the best fall ever. I think, you know, I hope you drink a pumpkin spice, and I will see you in my next video.